I have returned. Hey everyone, Templar74 coming to you live from the Templar74 backup channel with another episode of PokeTalk. That's right everyone, the first PokeTalk discussion I've made since the ShoPro mass takedown a couple months ago, but we're not here to discuss that. So to avoid the risk of rambling on, let's move on to today's discussion. Now, to be honest with all of you guys, I wasn't sure what to do for this video at first, but considering this is a Pokemon / fanfiction channel primarily, I do Yu-Gi-Oh too, but primarily Pokemon and fanfiction channel, I figured what better way to kick off PokeTalk's return than with a discussion about some great Pokemon fanfictions. Now, there are a lot of great Pokemon fanfictions out there, but for sake of time, today, we won't be discussing mine. Of course, I like mine after all. And we'll only be looking at 4 of them that I'm currently following and I think are definitely worth a read in my opinion. So without further ado, let's get started. Our first fanfiction is Lights of Laverre by LSW, and although this is the only completed fanfiction on this list, I still believe it deserves a spot on this list because of its well-written story and believable synopsis. The prelude goes on to read, she had hidden her deepest affections for so long now and thought she would never ever tell him. Little did they both know the lights of Laverre City would shine on what they tried their best to hide. From elation to devastation, Serena becomes lost, and Ash begins to consider what he really feels. A feeling that refuses to fade is about to take over Ash. And that is the prelude for Lights of Laverre. Again, although it's completed, I feel like this fanfiction deserved a spot on this list and deserves a read because of its beautifully written story, its believable premise, and if you're an Amore shipper or even an Insectivore shipper, that's Ash's Greninja and Serena's Braixen, by the way, this truly is a fanfiction for you, in my opinion. Next up is Lumiose University, a degree in Pokemon, by Amore Shipping Canon, aka King Poliwag, aka Thomas. This fanfiction follows some of our favorite Pokemon heroes and heroines as they work towards their dreams and goals, which they attempt to work towards by attending the prestigious Lumiose University. The prelude goes on to read, Ash, Serena, Clement, and Dawn have all worked hard at accomplishing their dreams, but each feel they need to learn more. Along comes an opportunity at the once prestigious Lumiose University, known for training top battlers, coordinators, and performers. As the determined trainers embrace this new opportunity, they soon realize Pokemon skills aren't the only things being tested. And that's Lumiose University, a degree in Pokemon. Now, once again, like performing in another region, there are multiple reasons why I follow this fanfiction. It follows our heroes as they deal with relatable real-world issues like college, relationships, etc. It's well written, and as a college student myself, well, returning college student as of the past year anyway, it has the everyday vibe that I've grown used to over these last few years, in my opinion. Next up is another fanfiction by Amore Shipping Canon, aka King Poliwag, aka Thomas, aka, yeah. And that fanfiction is Generation Z, Hoenn Alone. This fanfiction follows our secondary Kalos Pokegirl, Bonnie, as she begins her Pokemon journey after a time skip. And of course, the region our lemon-haired Pokemon girl travels in this story is, well, it's in the name. Hoenn. The prelude goes on to read, a new generation, a new adventure, a new hero. 10-year-old Bonnie is finally ready to become a Pokemon trainer, a goal she's had since traveling through Kalos with her brother Clement and her best friends Serena and Ash. Starting her journey with her loyal partner Dedenne, she sets off for the Hoenn region to meet new Pokemon, new friends, and have her own exciting adventures. And that's Generation Z, Hoenn Alone. Now, once again, several reasons I enjoy this fanfiction, but I think the main ones are A, it involves a time skip, which I advocate for the Pokemon anime almost religiously at this point. but B, it also gives a reader a throwback to a Pokemon pre-Sun and Moon vibe, kind of similar to performing in another region, and kind of like Lumiose University, although not very much in that case. It's well written, and it follows Bonnie, who in this story is just as good, if not better, than she was in the anime. She's also still that energetic and colorful character that she was in the anime too. And so, yeah, Generation Z, Hoenn Alone, another really great Pokemon fan fiction, in my opinion. And now for the fourth and final fan fiction we'll be discussing today, and that fan fiction is Alola to Our Saviour by the Pokespectre. Now, I've got to be honest, this fan fiction, how do I explain this? If you took Sun and Moon and made it more mature and more anime-like, this is what you'd get. This fanfiction is sort of like a game/anime hybrid, and it follows Ash, who, thanks to a major betrayal by his friends, family, and Pokemon, disappears to Alola with nothing and has to start over again with nothing and no one by his side. The prelude goes on to read, only a week after saving the Pokemon world yet again, Ash is pushed to the edge by his so-called friends and Pokemon. To escape it all, he travels to the region of Alola. He wants to grow stronger and prove them all wrong while fighting his biggest battle yet against an unknown foe. Contains swearing here and there, and it's an Ash and Lily story. Now, even though as a whole I'm not an Aurelia shipping Ash and Lily fan in the slightest, how it's handled in this story, well, it makes me like the shipping just a little bit more and a little bit more warmed up to it, especially more than I did before I discovered it. And although swearing is just a bit more than here or there, it's still a really great story, and it's how the Sun and Moon anime should have been done, in my opinion. Now, the great thing about this is Sun and Moon, arguably the deepest and best Pokemon games they've ever come out with. Pretty much, Pokespectre in this fanfiction does not leave anything out throughout this story. We see everything from the Battle Royale. We see Lucamine being the abusive, hard mother that she is in the game. We see Guzma in here being, well, Guzma. We actually have a menacing Team Skull. We have Ultra Beasts on a real warpath, not this watered down, oh, I'm lost, help me return home like the actual anime. This story actually follows closer to the games. And like I said, the only reason why I'd call it a game-anime hybrid is it uses anime characters more than it does the game characters. But overall, this is still a really great story, and if you really wanted to see Sun and Moon done in a more mature format, and you want to see characters like Hau and all your other favorite Pokemon characters, although they're slightly less flattering in this story, I gotta be honest with you. If you want something that's deep, dark, and you want all of these things I said before and was rambling on about, this is definitely a fan fiction I'd recommend. And like I said, although I recommend all these fan fictions I mentioned, I highly recommend Alola to Our Saviour more than some of the others, especially if the Sun and Moon anime just isn't piquing your interest, in my opinion. And there we have it, everyone. 4 Pokemon fan fictions that deserve a read, in my opinion. Now, of course, I will include links to all of these fan fictions in the description so you all can check them out if you haven't already. So with that said, this concludes the first PokeTalk discussion since the ShoPro mass takedown. I want to thank you all for your patience during all this, and it truly feels good to be back. So, once again, thank you, and as always, in the comment section down below, let me know what your guys' thoughts are. What are your thoughts about these stories? Have you read some of these? Will my thoughts encourage you to check out any of these stories if you haven't already? Do you have a personal favorite of your own? Just let me know in the comment section down below, because as always, I enjoy hearing from you. Alright everyone, as always, Templar74 signing off. Have a great day everyone, and I'll talk to you all next time. Goodbye everybody.